everybody. So in this video, we're going to talk about the DVWA. We're going to specifically focus on the brute force attack. Now, this isn't a directory attack. This is a login attempt. We're going to do the low and the medium as usual. And for the walkthrough on the high challenge, that's going to be available on the website at the Pentest Professional course. So we can see here the DVWA challenge. The vulnerability is the brute force attack. And it's going to ask for a username and password. So let's take a look at the OWASP top 10 and see what it has to say about this type of attack. All right, under the top 10 web application security risks, if we scroll down, we look at A07. This is identification and authentication failures. So if we take a look at that and scroll down, we can see that this one permits brute force or other automated attacks. It also potentially has the use of weak or well-known passwords such as password1 or admin. Now we can take a clue right from here that admin is a very popular username and password, and so we're going to leverage that actually, but we'll talk about why we pick a password and why we pick a user that we do. So if we go back to the challenge, we can see that there is the username and password login. So if we go to Burp Suite, we can see that the proxy is turned off, the intercept. So let me go ahead and turn that on. I like to use the open browser function within Burp Suite. It just makes things easier. I don't have to set up a proxy on another browser. And I already have one open, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. So again, we're just looking at username and login, and we have interceptor turned off. So let's go ahead and just try something. We'll try admin, like it suggested in the OWASP top 10 description. All right, so if we try to log in, we can see that the username and or password is incorrect. All right, so let's go ahead and turn on the intercept. And this way we'll collect any sort of data that goes from the browser to the server. So let's go back to the request and we'll go admin, and then we'll do test for password, and we'll just hit login. Now it brought up the Burp Suite because the intercept is on, and we can see down here that this is the raw code. So we've got a get under vulnerabilities brute. We're submitting a username admin, and we're submitting a password test. All right, we're going to attack the password. So in this case, that's the field, that's the little bit of data that we're going to attack. Now I'm going to send this to the intruder, and we'll go up to that tab, and we can see that it's already highlighted for me because I highlighted it in the previous screen. That's going to be our attack vector, that specific text right there. So if we go over to payloads, we can see that we're working on payload set 1, and I'm going to load a payload. So we're looking for a password list. I'm going to use the Adobe top 100. I want a smaller list just for example here. I'm going to go ahead and open that, and it's going to populate a bunch of passwords, and we can just scroll through and we can see that there's probably 100 in there. All right, so let's go back up to the top, and we will start our attack. So you can see that it churned through, it's going through them fairly quickly. We've got 16, 18, 19 out of 100, right? We can already take a look and see that we've gotten some information back. So if we take a look at the very first one, it uses username admin and test. It uses whatever we initially start with and sends that on and sees if there's any sort of response that we can use. All right, so we look at the next one. It's 123456. You can see again, admin is the user, password is 123456. All right, now we can take a look at the response, and we can do a render, and we can scroll down, and we can see that using the password 123456 failed. Right. So I always like to look at the length. The length usually shows where there's a difference between a failed and a successful attack. So let me go ahead and click on length and bring the highest number up so we can see a 4740 with the payload password. So if we take a look at that and we are under the response and the render and we scroll down, we can see that we got a welcome to the password protected area admin. All right, so this was a successful attack. So I'm going to delete all this information. I'm going to start over, and then I'm going to bring this up to the medium challenge. Okay, I have intercept off. I'm going to go to the DVWA, scroll down, click on the security, change the low to medium, and then submit. Okay, if we scroll down, we can see that the security level is now medium. So let's go back to the brute force and see what we can do there. So I'm not going to use admin and password. Sensibly, it makes sense to use something that we already know works, but that kind of defeats the whole point of trying to learn how to do this. So again, we're going to use the word admin as an attack. So we'll go admin, and then we'll use test again. Now I have the interceptor turned off, so let me go back and turn that back on. So interceptor is on. I'll go back and try to log in. So again, it took me straight back to the burp suite, and we can see that again we have admin and test. So we're going to do the exact same thing we did before. We don't know what the medium security is actually going to do, so let's just go ahead and see what happens. So again, we'll select that. We'll send it to intruder. Go to intruder. We have the test highlighted. Okay. We'll go to payloads. We will load the same file again. Click open, and we will start our attack. Okay. So we've already got the first response, second response. So this is much slower. So if we go back to our OWASP description of this type of vulnerability, we can take a look and see what's actually happening. So as I mentioned, A07 identification and authentication failures, there is the possibility of weak or well-known passwords. If we scroll down to see how to prevent, we can see that one of the options is to limit or increasingly delay failed login attempts, but also not to create a denial of service scenario. So it looks like what's happening is they've taken some of this to heart, and they've included a delay in the attack. So let's go back and take a look and see what we found so far. All right, so we can see right away that there is a difference in the response received, but it also has a difference in length. So let's go ahead and just do the same thing we did before. Go up to the length and see that, again, we used admin and password. We take a look at the response. We go to the render and scroll down. We can see that we were able to access. Again, the only thing that they did differently is they included a delay in the attack. Slowed us down a little bit, but obviously not enough. All right, I'm going to show you a little bit of a different twist on this. So what we did is we had a username that we used consistently, and then we changed the password. We can do something called password spraying, where it's the exact opposite. So we pick a password, and then we select a list of user accounts, and we try to cycle through those and see if a weak password works on any sort of user account. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's just clean this all up and start all over. Okay, so I have intercept on again. I'm going to load up. Now we're still on medium, so be aware it's going to delay us, but I'm going to do test, and then for password I'm going to use password. Now that's a common new one. We could use admin. There's a whole list, right? But we're going to try, in this case, password, just to show you a successful attack. So username test, password is password. So we'll click login. It takes us straight to the burp suite, and we can see that username is test, password is password. So I'm going to highlight the username in this case. I'm going to send it to intruder. Take a look at the intruder. We have payloads. We're going to load up a new file. In this case, I'm going to use Unix users. That's a fairly small list, and it should have an admin in that list. Let's go ahead and open it and see what populates. Okay, so the fifth one down, so it's blank, and then eventually we get to admin. So it's going to cycle through the usernames listed here using a single password, and specifically in this one is password. So let's go ahead and start our attack and see what we get. Okay, as I mentioned before, this is the medium challenge, so things are delayed, and it's going to take a little bit longer to get our successful attack. Okay, we can see that admin had a hit. There's a different response received and a different length. So if we click on that, we can look at the response. We can render it, scroll down, and again, we were able to successfully attack. So just as a reminder for those that aren't familiar, we have a website called Pentest TV where we have multiple courses available for free and for premium. You can see here a list of the different courses that are available, and in this case I wanted to point you to the professional penetration testing. Join the free course and enjoy the content. So with that, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.